Hi, welcome back. I'd like to call up John Mullis to give us the guests.
Thank you, Andy. When I call your name, please stand up so we can welcome you. We have two guests today from the Salvation Army, Stephanie Will.
Hi, Stephanie.
And Mark Romano.
Hey, Mark.
And we have one guest joining us from the tour of the Performing Arts Center earlier today, Joyce Winder, guest of Marcy McPherson.
Hi, Joyce.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you for all of our guests that came today. We'd love for you to join us. If you're interested in membership, please see Sharon Barnhorst, who's there in the back. We're glad to have you. Always welcome to come back for lunch another time. For community service, Jay Hoffmeister, I know you're running something, so Jay, can you give us an update?
Yeah, August 8th, Manatee Elementary, they're having a back to school night. We need 4 more people. JL says real team is going to be out there. We need people helping set up the food and that.
Okay, and August 8th, that's a Thursday, Jay? Okay, is that on Member Day, Mac? And Lou Unger also has an announcement to make.
Real quick, under community service, I just want to congratulate Mr. Pollock over here, Chief Pollock, for donating. He was just recognized for donating 100 gallons of blood.
Hey, hey! Very, very good. That's fantastic. All right. Are there any other announcements? Yes, Mac.
Foundation meeting this afternoon.
There's a foundation meeting this afternoon. Is it in this room?
Probably downstairs. There's a
Probably downstairs.
Mike, tell them what's going on tonight. There's a foundation investment meeting at 4 o'clock, and then the regular foundation board meeting is at 5, somewhere here in the building. Yeah, what he said.
It's probably downstairs. Did everybody catch that? Investment meetings at 4, and then the regular meeting will be at 5. So all are welcome to attend if you want to attend the foundation meeting. All right. So today I'm very excited to have a good friend of mine who I've known for years be our speaker. His name is Peter Motzenbecker with Health Markets. So come on up, Peter.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And I told Andy he really looks good in a crown. So very natural. Must be family heritage. So my name is Peter Motzenbecker. I'm an independent health insurance and Medicare agent. And as I was looking over the crowd, I thought I would ask if there are any other agents here who do health insurance or Medicare. Okay. Okay. I'm a little bit unique in that I do almost nothing other than under 65 health insurance and Medicare. A little bit of dental, vision, hearing when it makes sense, but no other lines of insurance. So with that, what I wanted to discuss today were just a few topics, and then at the end we'll save room for questions. I want to talk a little bit about the health insurance market today in the United States, and then talk about Medicare and some things that are coming along and down the road here with respect to Medicare and changes that are coming for 2025. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on Medicare basics, and I have a few slides that I'll be pulling up here in a couple of moments, because to me, the single most confusing thing is Medicare. It's not as complicated as it looks at first blush, but it can be quite intimidating for people who don't have a lot of background in it. So with that, talk a little bit about health insurance in the United States today. First, raise your hand if you have group health insurance through an employer, okay? Yeah, a lot of us either do or used to have it. I used to benefit from group health insurance for a large part of my career, group employer-based insurance. If you do not have group or employer-based insurance, raise your hand. okay? Raise your hand, keep your hand up if you have some sort of individual health insurance, other than Medicare. Okay, so if you don't mind me asking, and anyone can shout out, what kind of health insurance do you have?
Medicare supplement.
You have a Medicare supplement. How about under 65? TRICARE. Anyone else, anyone have an ACA marketplace plan? Through the marketplace, okay. So you'll notice that, and I don't think there were anyone else who left their hand up. There's very little available today in the way of individual health insurance. Prior to Obamacare, which is otherwise known as ACA or Marketplace Healthcare.gov insurance, there was a lot of individual health insurance. Almost all the carriers got out of it. I was on a call this morning where we discussed the fact that United Healthcare is leaving the individual healthcare space. The only plans they're going to offer after September 1st are short-term plans with a duration of 4 months. And even when they sold longer-term plans, they were nothing like the health insurance well, I shouldn't say nothing like. They had quite a few big differences between what you're used to when it comes to group health insurance. I could not cite the list, so I actually put some in my notes, but the one thing, say what you want about the ACA, Obamacare plans, but they really, really work well for the people who need them. And a lot of people would have no other options if not for them. And it's partly because of the guarantees that they build into those plans. They call them the minimum essential coverage standards, and there's something like a dozen of them. And I just put down some big ones. The biggest one is guaranteed issue. Just like if you work for an employer that offers group health insurance, when you joined that company, they didn't ask you any underwriting questions, right? Didn't matter when you joined, what time of the year you joined guaranteed issue, including your spouse and your children. Well, individual health insurance today, and even prior to today, when it was more widely available, it generally required underwriting. So ACA Obamacare plans do not require underwriting, they're guaranteed issue. They cover preventative care, wellness visits, pregnancy, maternity, newborn care. A lot of individual plans wouldn't even insure you if you were expecting, and they would dissuade you if you were even thinking about planning a family. There are no annual lifetime limits with ACA plans. It covers mental health and substance abuse issues. So the bottom line is this. The ACA Obamacare plans, which is what I'm on, by the way. I should have raised my hand. I'm on a Florida Blue ACA plan, and I am on it for a number of reasons, but one of the biggest is that I have 2 children on the spectrum, autism spectrum, and individual insurance companies won't touch them with a 10-foot pole. So anyone who has pre-existing conditions, serious pre-existing conditions, would have no alternative anyway. One more interesting thing I'll share with you regarding the ACA plans is the availability today anyway, and through 2025, of tax credits, pretty substantial tax credits, which are designed, they were, I say probably because you'll see in a minute how they can work for other people too, but they were designed to help people who did not have the income to afford health insurance at today's rates. And the tax credits are designed, if you have income that falls between 100% and 400% of the federal poverty level, you qualify for tax credits. For some people, and it could be a young college-age student, or it could be, a 50-year-old who doesn't make a lot of money, you could get, in some cases, free insurance. Really attractive insurance that might cost someone else $1,000 a month, doesn't cost these people anything. But here's an interesting application for financial planners. And I'll give you I'll give you an example that is very much real in many situations. Imagine a 62-year-old couple who's achieved their financial goals, and they decide to retire early. And that means to use one example, the husband's going to leave his corporate gig, and he and his wife are going to retire because they don't need anything else. Well, one of the things that sometimes gives pause, as we were talking about over at our table here, is a lot of people keep working because they want the health insurance. And individual health insurance can be expensive. It would not be uncommon for a 62-year-old couple to pay between $2,000 and $3,000 a month for an Obamacare plan, okay? But, right, or group. But assuming that they're walking away from their group insurance, here's an amazing example for you. Let's just say that couple had $5 million in assets, and they're not gonna work for 3 more years. They're gonna just travel. So they're gonna live off of dividends and interest and savings. That couple could qualify for nearly free health insurance because the ACA, the government, does not count assets, it only counts income. So if you can live off of savings for 2 years or 3 years, you may get free health insurance through the exchange. So it can work well for lots of different people. Any questions on the ACA, Obamacare type plans? Yes, Andy.
Do dividends and interest count as income toward that ACA qualification?
Yes. So what a lot of your clients will do, obviously with your guidance, is make a calculated plan to minimize that dividend interest capital gains over whatever period of time they need to keep their income, their AGI below a certain level. And we would determine what that level is. Yes.
Does the government calculate your income based on the prior year, tax year?
No, well, for tax credit purposes, it's current year. So again, it doesn't matter what you made in 2023. And of course, we're more than halfway through 2024. But yeah, if you retired on December 31st or even January or February of this year, and you're done generating income for the rest of the year, the question I will ask you is, what is your estimated adjusted gross income for this year? And that's what you'll base your premium on. So if someone's planning ahead, what we'll do is we'll assume, well, if you're going to retire on December 31st, it doesn't matter how much money you make this year, you need to be on a marketplace plan January 1st, and we estimate your income next year is going to be dividends of interest of $5,000 a month. Or and a 62-year-old, it could be $10,000 a month, and they may well get nearly free health insurance. Assets are completely irrelevant. Now, people often ask me, well, can you tell me what my tax credit would be or what my client's tax credit would be just off the top of your head? Or are there tables I can look at? There are not. We need to know not just age, gender, date of birth, and income, but we need to know where they live, because you can get larger tax credits in some states or in some counties than others because it's based on the income in your footprint. Any other questions?
So it's just earned income that ACA looks at?
Yeah, adjusted gross. My favorite reply to a question like that is, I'm not a CPA, which I know a lot of us use because you have to be careful. I would always check with my CPA, but it is adjusted gross income. So I know it's obviously income from work, dividends, interest, capital gains, that would go towards that. So if things to think about are, if you did retire on December 31st, are you going to receive some sort of deferred comp that's paid in January? And if you are, and if it's substantial, it may impact that. If you sell a business and you're going to get paid out over 5 years, your income might not, it might not matter that you retired because you're going to maintain a substantial income for at least a few years beyond that.
Oh, I have a question. So dividends and interest, you get on your investments, you get your dividends and interest, and is that, if you don't take any of it out, you just reinvest it, does that count as adjusted gross income?
Well, Andy, I'm going to defer to you. It would if it's a taxable account, right? Yeah, it would if it was a taxable account. But again, that's where, yes.
I do have a question. Say the husband and wife husband continues to work, wife's gonna retire, he still makes a substantial amount of money.
Yep.
Is it?
Adjusted gross, a joint. It has to be. And you can't file separately and get a tax credit.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Most are offered the COBRA coverage.
Yeah.
And so how do you determine between what COBRA is offering and what the ACA?
Yep, and that was one of my notes. So if you came to me, Andy, and said, I've got a husband and wife, they're gonna retire, and the question is, should they do COBRA, or should they maybe consider a marketplace plan? Here's the answer to that. In the absence of a tax credit, so assuming your client was not going to qualify for a tax credit, ACA insurance is priced very closely to COBRA. So COBRA is always the best option. Because with COBRA, you're keeping the insurance you've had, and you know, it probably includes dental and vision. And it's going to be everything that you've been used to, except it's probably going to cost you twice as much as what you've been paying. That's about what a marketplace plan would look like price-wise, and marketplace plans generally do not cover a dental and vision. So COBRA is always the best option, everything else being equal. I would want clients to go to COBRA first, unless there are those clients who are going to show no income, and then instead of paying over $2,000 a month for COBRA, we can put them in a marketplace plan for, you know, $300 or $400 or less. Any other questions?
This is all pre-Medicare you're talking.
Yes, this is all pre-Medicare.
Right.
Okay, any more questions there? So we're going to segue to Medicare, and I'm going to have to remember that I've got some slides to show you. So I'm going to just touch base on some things that are coming for next year. In 2025, there are some changes coming to the Medicare space, mostly in the prescription drug areas. Some of you might know that insulin costs were capped at $35 a month. These are all things that came out of what was that act that got passed? Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. But anyway, so are any of these subject to change? Who knows? We'll see what the future brings. But out-of-pocket prescription drug costs are dropping from $5,030 in 2024 to $2,000 in 2025. So for Medicare beneficiaries who take expensive prescriptions, it's going to be a big deal for them next year. They're also phasing out the donut hole, which is the coverage gap. And this, you want to talk about one of the more complicated parts of Medicare. It's everything under Part D. And starting in 2026, Medicare will be able to negotiate drug prices. They're starting with 10 drugs. I didn't bring the list of them, but then that list is going to expand going forward. So there are some pretty meaningful changes coming to the Medicare space. Now, the other thing that I just grabbed the other day was that in 2024, Medicare Advantage plans, Part C Medicare Advantage plans, now account for 51% of all the Medicare enrollees today. So 51% are now enrolling in Part C Medicare Advantage plans, the other 49% in Medicare supplements. And that's what we're going to spend a few minutes on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a slide. And we're going to look at these individually, but if not every day, multiple times a week, I talk to new Medicare beneficiaries or people who are approaching their initial enrollment period. So the Medicare initial enrollment period is the 7-month window in which you first become eligible for Medicare, setting aside disability, which can happen at a much younger age for anyone. That 7-month window is the month of your birth, unless you were born on the first day of the month. Another silly Medicare rule. But it's the month of your birth, the 3 months before and the 3 months after. So that's 7 months. If your birthday happened to be on the first day of the month, your effective date is the month before the month of your birth. So crazy as that sounds, but I usually talk to clients right before their IEP, their initial enrollment period, to remind them that, hey, your IEP is coming up, and that's the window in which you want to sign up for Medicare if you're going to sign up for Medicare. And David, only because we're having lunch together, David is an example of someone who postponed Medicare beyond age 65 because he's got great group health insurance, and he kept working. And a lot of people delay Medicare. There's reasons to delay it, and there's reasons to maybe sign up for it depending on what kind of insurance you have. But if you have what they call creditable group health insurance, which would be typically defined as employer or group health insurance with at least 25 employees, or you're part of a large group that has more than 25 employees, then you can delay Medicare. But assuming that you're going to sign up for Medicare when you turn 65, you know that your effective date for that initial enrollment period is 3 months prior. And I tell clients, sign up as soon as you can, because although it's gotten a lot better after COVID, it was taking, boy, it could take 90 days for people's applications to get approved, and that caused a lot of problems. But signing up for Medicare initially involves the first slide here. Well, you're looking at it right there, but we did break them down into individual pages. Original Medicare. Now, if I had a better memory or had put it in my notes, I could talk about when all of this first came into being. But Medicare Part A is hospital care. And if you've worked for 40 quarters, 10 years, paid into the system, so to speak, you get free Medicare Part A. If you have less than 40 quarters, you're going to have to pay for Medicare at Part A. And I doubt that applies to anyone in this room. Spouses would automatically be covered under you. But Medicare Part A can cost upwards of $500 per month if you have to pay for it, okay? And you pay less if you've got minimum hours. Like if you have 30 hours, you pay less. If you have 36 hours, you pay a little less, and then it would be free when you get to 40 quarters, if I didn't say that right. Part A is hospital care. Some of you, if you think you're going to work, or if you did work beyond age 65, you still might have signed up for Part A, because Part A is free. So Part A is free. It coordinates with your group insurance in ways that you would never even notice or see, but at least it gets you your Medicare number, a Medicare card with your Part A effective date, which is the first day of your birth month. Now, when you're ready for Part B, which might be when you're 65 or 10 years later, Part B is everything that happens outside of the hospital that's medical related. Doctor's appointments, specialists, urgent care, emergency rooms, urgent care, x-rays, blood work, lab work, et cetera. So I misspoke there for a second. Part A is hospital, B is everything else. Part B you pay for. Part B starts at $174.70 per month, and it goes up based on how much you make. Individual, it's I think it's 106 for an individual, and 200. It's 206 for a married couple. But if you make $206,000 or under, you're going to pay $174.70 per month. If you make over 206 as a married couple, and I do think it's 103 for an individual, you're going to pay more for your Part B, and it depends on how much you make. And I don't have those breaks in front of me, but maybe it's around 235, and then 270, and it goes all the way up to 750,000 and above. And your Part B premium can get upwards of $500 and over if you have income up in that range, okay? So that's Part B. Now, I was going to say that's the easy part. Actually, from my perspective, the hardest and most important thing to get clients to do is sign up for Medicare A and B. And there's a few ways you can do it. The easiest way is through the Social Security website. If you're reasonably handy with a computer, but even if you are, you know, it's like putting together a kid's present on Christmas Eve, right? It takes you all night. When you're finished, you could do 20 of them in an hour, but you know, so a lot of people struggle through that application. I think it's easy, but that's because I help clients do it every day. So once you sign up for A and B, you have a couple of options. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is the Medicare supplement and the Part D prescription drug plan. Now, I am a bit of an outlier in the role that I serve as an insurance agent who does predominantly Medicare business. Because I would tell you that maybe 95% of the people I enroll in Medicare do supplements and not the Part C Medicare Advantage plans. It's the nature of the people that I work with. And we can talk about that, but I will tell you that I do more in the space. So I am way outside those averages for the nation, which is 51% do Advantage plans and 49% do supplements. I'm 90% Medicare supplements. I'm a big believer of them. I'm going to be enrolling in Medicare next year, and this is the route that I'm going to go. But it's not right for everybody. But what your option is if you go this route with a Medicare supplement is that you get some distinct advantages over the Medicare Advantage plan, but you pay for it. So it really comes down to whether you think it's worth it, and you might think it's worth it depending on your medical history, and you might think it's worth it based on your ability to pay for it. But if you do a Medicare supplement, also known as a Medigap plan, if just given that here we are in Southwest Florida, I live in St. Petersburg. On the west coast of Florida, a 65-year-old male will pay in the neighborhood of $220 a month for a Medicare supplement. Female, maybe $200. It could be less, it could be more, depending on what supplement you choose, but you're going to pay somewhere in that $200 a month range or more, and as you age, by the way, your premiums are going to go up. Over time, you're going to pay more. But you have to have some pretty compelling reasons to agree to spend $220 a month, just to pick a 65-year-old male in Bradenton. What are those compelling reasons? I think they're very compelling. Some of you might disagree. The first compelling reason is you can see any doctor you want, go to any facility, any lab, any hospital, as long as they accept Medicare. And that's 96% of all doctors. It wouldn't work with a concierge doctor. That's completely not an option. But you would know, owning a supplement, that you can go anywhere you want. If you get referred to the best cardiologist in town or the best dermatologist or whatever it is, you know you can go see them. Okay? The Advantage plan does not give you that flexibility. We'll talk about that in a minute. The other distinct advantage of a Medicare supplement is your annual out-of-pocket maximum in 2024 is $240. You could spend a year in the hospital. Once you come out of pocket $240, you're done for the year. So those are the reasons that I believe that Medicare supplements make the most sense for the people that I work with, okay? And maybe the majority of you too, I'm not sure, but that is why I'm a big believer in Medicare supplements. Now, prescription drug plans. So some people will say to me, well, I don't take any prescriptions. I don't need a Part D prescription drug plan. You have to have a Part D prescription drug plan. If you don't, you're going to be subject to lifetime penalties. And I had a client last year, I forget if she was 81 or 83, she never signed up for a prescription drug plan. The penalties talk about a strange formulary. They take 1% of the average cost of a prescription drug plan today, which might be somewhere between $40 and $50 a month, and so it's 40 cents or whatever it is, and then you pay that 1% penalty for every month that you did not have creditable prescription drug coverage. And so what I remember is that for this woman, I feel like it was north of $40. I don't think it was 70, but whatever her penalty was, it was a monthly penalty for the rest of her life. So, $40 isn't going to change most people's lives, but the government does not play games with that. If you don't sign up for Medicare when you're supposed to, they're going to penalize you for it. So if you do the Medicare supplement option, which we're looking at right now, you have to do a prescription drug plan. You have to. And prescription drug plans, I said, the average price might be, you could say $50, but if you don't take any prescriptions, there's at least one prescription drug plan out there that's free. And that works for a lot of people. But there are prescription drug plans that cost $100 per month. And that would be for probably diabetics and people who take other very expensive prescriptions. Before I segue to the Part C Advantage plans, do I have any questions on this part of Medicare? Yes.
I guess the question for those of us who plan on working past 65 is, so as you're approaching 65 and you want to not sign up for A, what do you do?
Ignore everything.
And if you're, let's say you're approaching 65 and you need to sign up for all of this,
Yep.
what do you do?
So 3 months before you turn 65, so what month are you born?
January.
So what is that in November? October, right? October 1st or after, you would sign up for Medicare A and B, and you get a card sent to you in the mail that said your Medicare effective date is October 1st for Medicare Part A and B. I will tell you that if the only reason not to sign up for Part A is if you contribute to an HSA, because you cannot contribute to an HSA once you sign up for Part A. So if you don't contribute to an HSA, you might as well sign up for Part A. It's free anyway, and you're going to get your number established, and it'll be much easier just to sign up for Part B when you're ready to retire, which could be as far into the future as you want. We were talking over there. I have a client, happened to be a retired financial advisor, but he retired at 75. And his wife, by the way, didn't sign up for Medicare either. So they literally waited till he retired December 31st of last year in his 75th year to sign up for Medicare A and B. Okay? All right, so let's talk about that other, yes?
Quick question. So if you sign up for Medicare, say you're 65, you sign up for Medicare, you're not working. 2 years later, you go back to work again for an employer that offers a group plan. Can you then go on to that group plan?
So the answer to that is the answer to that is yes, you can, but it can be really, you're dealing with the government, and so you're wanting to unwind your Medicare to go onto a group plan. It's usually not worth what you would have to go through to get through that. And honestly, with very few, well, I'm going to say there's only one exception to this rule. Medicare is the best insurance I think any of us will ever have. It just might cost some of you a lot of money because you made a lot of money. And so while your income is still high, you might pay that real high Part B premium. So you might be paying $1,000, you and your wife, and by the way, it's not, or husband, whichever one it is, both of you would pay that larger Part B premium. So it can get expensive, but that's the penalty for being successful. So, yes.
Well, in that scenario, don't most employers, or at least a large majority, require that Medicare be primary?
No. Most large employees leave that entirely up to you. But if you did sign up for Medicare, yes. No. Even if you do sign up for Medicare, your employer plan is primary. Yes.
So back to that idea of if you have the supplements compared to the Medicare Advantage, I had a client that I liquidated some of his jewelry to the tune of like $70,000, and I told him I sold it and I'll send you the check, put it in the mail. He said, Tom, can you wire it into my bank account? I said, well, it can only take a day to get there, and the money's there. You can just come and get the check or whatever. He said, I have to. My wife has to have treatment at MD Anderson, and we're on one of the supplements, the ones that don't cover it. And he said, I have to give them a check for $100,000 in 2 days because that's not part of one of the providers.
Well, then Medicare Advantage plan. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So, this is not meant, just because I do 90% of my enrollments in the supplement space does not mean Part C doesn't work for a lot of people. Medicare Advantage plans, also known as Medicare Part C, take the place of original Medicare. So now, and by the way, supplements are offered by major insurers. United Healthcare, Cigna, Florida Blue, Humana, Aetna, Mutual of Omaha. The list is a mile long. Part C Medicare Advantage plans are also offered by the same insurance companies, but they take the place of original Medicare. And they cover everything that original Medicare provides plus some. So for example, Part C Medicare Advantage plans also cover dental and vision, which is not part of what a Medicare supplement does. So Medicare Advantage plans give you extras, and they're free. And that's why they're so popular with half of Medicare's beneficiaries today. But you know darn well that nothing is free, right? So why are Medicare Advantage plans free? Well, they're free. Here are the caveats. Number one, you don't have unlimited doctor access. You have networks, just like your group plan. And we're all used to group plans. Group plans work fine, right? But if your company changes your group plan, you might find out one of your doctors isn't in network anymore. And you either go out of network and pay more, or you have to change doctors and whatnot. That's how Medicare Advantage plans work. So if you can live with networks and you're very healthy, maybe that's not a big deal. But the other thing you need to know is that your out-of-pocket maximum in a Medicare Advantage plan might be $5,000 per year. So if you get sick enough, you might wish you had done the supplement. But if you get sick enough, you may never get to go back, because the only time you get free guaranteed issue with Medicare is when you first sign up for Medicare. So, and I'll give you this isn't meant to be a scare tactic, but it's a worst case scenario. Forgive the terrible examples I have to use, but if you were on a Medicare Advantage plan and got cancer in October, hit your out-of-pocket maximum before Christmas, and hit it again before Easter because you're still getting treatments, you may hit your out-of-pocket maximum twice in a 6-month window. And those are the people that go, I should have done the supplement, but they won't be able to go back. But if you're, and in all fairness, I have 3 siblings on Medicare Advantage plans, but my 3 siblings didn't plan for retirement either. So when it came time to look at Medicare supplements versus Advantage plans, that extra $200 a month actually mattered enough to them. They took their chances with Medicare Advantage plans. So, and I'll give you one last personal story, and I don't know how much longer I'm supposed to talk.
We're almost done.
Okay. My 99-year-old mom lives in Venice. 6 weeks ago, fell and broke her hip. And she's coming home from rehab on Thursday. And I think she's going to be okay. But she had a Medicare supplement through my dad's employer until January. But they switched their employer plan to an Advantage plan. And my mom spent 2 weeks negotiating with the Advantage plan as to what rehab facility she could go to. And she didn't get to go to the one she wanted to. If she had been in a supplement, she would have been in rehab 2 weeks prior to when she got there. So Medicare Advantage plans work for some people, but a lot of people end up wishing maybe they had had a different kind of opportunity. I think that brings me to the end of my presentation, and if there are any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Yes?
Okay, so, well, let's, when do you, if you just sign up for A at 65, when do you have to sign up for the rest of it?
You never have to sign up.
Okay.
As long as you have group health insurance.
Okay, as long as well, let's say you sign up for A at 65, but nothing else because you got group health care. So when you retire, when do you sign up? Is that when
I would suggest that if you knew you were going to just retire on December 31st, that you would sign up in October for an effective date of January 1st.
Okay, yeah, and so you can sign up to it in parts.
Yes.
And that includes the supplement,
Once you sign up for A and B, then you sign up for your supplement or your Advantage plan.
Okay.
Okay?
If you sign up for just A, do you sign up for?
Nope. You do A by itself.
Thank you for, because I know I looked at.
And I'll stick around.
All right, thanks, Peter. All right, I really appreciate Peter coming today. As you can tell, this is a topic of interest. I have a lot of my clients I refer to Peter for these questions because I don't know the answers to these questions. These are really big, deep, individual questions, and so his information's up here. So if you want to give him a phone call, go through those questions. He's done a great job for several people. So, but I want to present you with our Kiwanis Golden Ruler. Awesome. So get a picture here. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right. So next week we have Erin Watson with Game On Nation. So we're really excited to have her. With that, we are adjourned. Thanks very much.